Hi guys, this is Mina Ahmed and I'm doing my third video today on Coach My Life. Today I want to talk about a really important topic. I think is really important, and it's a topic about vulnerability. I think what tends to happen in society is that we're very afraid to show vulnerability, and I think it's perceived as a sign of weakness rather than a sign of strength. When I talk about vulnerability, I don't mean sort of full-blown secrecy disclosure to people, because that's with therapists and professional. You need a lot of professional help with that, but obviously a good friend can always do a good job as well with that. So if you have people that you trust in your family and friends and things like that. But vulnerability is perceived as being, we're weak, we have to sort of be vulnerable, or we show any sort of vulnerability. We can show, but there's simple ways of showing vulnerability. For example, if you're really stressed, you could say to somebody, I had a bad day. Vulnerability can mean that when you're lonely, you actually pick the phone up to somebody and says, I don't feel very good today, and I feel like I want to go somewhere, but I don't feel good about myself. So, would you sort of come with me, or something like that? Vulnerability can be that you can't cope and you need some help. So that's absolutely fine. I think it is very much in society that if we don't cope, there's something wrong with us. We're not strong enough. We should be strong, even if it's a man or a woman. There's this idea about you have to be strong, you need to cope on your own, and we have that inbuilt in us. There are people who show a lot of vulnerability, and actually sometimes it's quite difficult for us to handle it because we're not used to that emotion, that openness. So it's not just that we don't show vulnerability, unfortunately, we don't even know how to receive it. And so sometimes it can be perceived as somebody being quite needy, or emotional, or over emotional, or a bit depressed, in that sense. Maybe we're thinking, oh gosh, they're showing too much vulnerability. But actually what it is because we ourselves don't show vulnerability. And when we don't show vulnerability ourselves, it's very alien to us. So it's about managing that vulnerability. So even when somebody wants to show a bit of vulnerability, they need to do it in a safe way, so with a safe person, and they need to have boundaries with that as well. And whether you're receiving that vulnerability or giving that vulnerability, you always need to have a boundary with that as well. So what I mean by that is, if somebody is showing a lot of vulnerability all the time, every hour, every second, you have to have a moment where you need to say, okay, there needs to be some boundaries, because that means that you're taking on that person's feelings, and you're trying to sympathize and empathize, but it might be getting overwhelming for you. So it's important to have that boundary as well. But at the same time, show a bit of vulnerability. It's absolutely fine. It's okay to show a bit of vulnerability. And I think that idea of not showing vulnerability comes from simply not showing how we feel. It comes back to the same thing. We don't show how we feel. We don't share our emotions, and we don't show vulnerability then. And the danger in that actually is that you don't form good friendships, good bonds with people. Your relationships that you have, they suffer because you're not showing vulnerability. You're not saying, actually, I've had enough. Actually, I can't do this. Actually, I need some help. And usually that they're really, really important things that we need to do in our lives as well. We need to ask for help when we need help. And the amazing thing is that people are really receptive towards that. It's in our mind that we think, oh, if we show a bit of vulnerability, we're going to come across weak. But actually, people like to help people. We're not born and brought into this world on our own. We're with people. So it's really important to show that vulnerability. It's absolutely fine. That's kind of the topic really I wanted to talk about today, in terms of vulnerability. One of the reasons that we don't disclose or don't show some vulnerability is because maybe in the past, when we tried to show it, we've got shut down. Okay, so what happens is the brain thinks, now if I'm going to be vulnerable, it's going to be really dangerous, because this person will disclose my information, or perhaps they won't understand me, they'll shut me down. So you know what, I'm not going to go there. And that's actually, this is kind of the work that I do in terms of the brain, because the brain it receives a message, and unfortunately it creates a loop in the brain, and it's hard to break it because it's going back and forth with the same memory, that when I try to reach out, this happened to me. When I try to show vulnerability, this happened to me. And usually they're negative things. So what you have to do is train the brain differently, and start to show a bit of vulnerability to your friends and family, and then receive those messages that actually it's okay, it's absolutely fine. Oh, you know, I showed a bit of vulnerability and somebody took me out for a coffee, for example. I showed a bit of vulnerability and I was, you know, somebody gave me a text, a call, they checked in on me. It's beautiful and it's lovely. Relationships should be like that. I showed a bit of vulnerability and I feel better. See, the key thing is showing a bit of vulnerability makes you feel good about yourself, actually, because you're more true to yourself and you're more yourself, and people start to get to know you as who you are. Lacking vulnerability, that little vulnerableness, that's the word, is fine. You know, it's okay. I mean, lacking it isn't. Sorry, lacking isn't, because what you're doing is you can come across quite cold. That, you know, you're not really sort of interested in the other person, and it might just be that you're working through your own issues while you're trying to. So somebody might be having a conversation with you about how difficult they're finding it with their children, and you could have children the same age, okay, you have the teenagers, and you could just be sitting like this. The other person's getting nothing from you. They're not getting a nod, you know. We're not saying that tell everything to them, but, you know, relate. Try, if you've got something that is already relatable. You have teenagers, they have teenagers. We all have difficulties. It's nice to share those difficulties. It's nice to share those issues, and it's nice to help and support one another. So showing a bit of vulnerability goes a long way. It improves relationships. And actually, the nice thing about it is sometimes when you see something from a different perspective, and the other person hasn't seen that, they might find that really, really useful, and they can use that in their lives. And sometimes it can go a long way. Because they might have not thought of something that, you know, you've brought up for them, which is great. So there's so many benefits of showing vulnerability, because I mean, obviously there are those, again, negative messages of, oh, we shouldn't show vulnerability because I was shut down. I didn't, you know, I wasn't received well. Nobody cares about me. So we've got those kind of messages going on as well. So in order to break those barriers and break those messages and break that cycle and loop, is to go back and try it again. Try it again. Try it in a safe place. Try it with people that you're getting to know. You know, and it's absolutely brilliant, because once you do, you form a better and stronger friendship. You form a better and stronger relationship. You yourself feel so much better. You feel like yourself. You don't have to fake it, you know. I mean, if you have to fake it to you know, to initially make it, then just do that. But once you do, you feel comfortable. You realize actually there's nothing dangerous about sort of showing vulnerability. It's absolutely fine to say, actually, I felt really crap today, and, you know, this is what happened, and I don't know what I'm gonna do, or it's just show your worry and anxiety, and then what happens is people are able to support you. Obviously, it depends who you're speaking to, and I understand that totally. And so then go to those places and go to those people that actually are genuinely your friend. You know, some people are quite receptive to it. I just wanted to do a video on this topic. I just think it's close to many people's heart, because we hide a lot about how we feel. We hide a lot about what we think. We hide a lot about our emotional states, and it's good to share, okay? And it's good to offload as well. And I mean, talking therapy is great. People like to talk in therapy, so which basically just means that they're talking about their issues. Some people don't like to talk much, and that's absolutely fine as well. And they probably do find it difficult to show vulnerability, or they may be brilliant at showing vulnerability because they might only talk when they feel something, strongly about something, and then they'll say, oh, I don't like that, I don't want to have to that. And again, actually, one of the parts of vulnerability is showing what you like and dislike. Don't always go with, oh, do you want to go to a lunch at this place, and then think, oh, I don't want to hurt the person's feelings, so I won't suggest another place. No, absolutely. Suggest a place, because it's great, because then people get to know you, get to know what your likes and dislikes are, get to know what sort of things you like. You get to know about them. You show part of you that you have probably hidden, and it's really, really important to show that vulnerability. Okay, so I hope you all have a fantastic weekend, and this is my Sunday video today rather than a Saturday video, because I had a really busy weekend, enjoying myself actually, to be fair. But I really hope you guys have a fantastic weekend, and please post and let me know what you think about vulnerability. If you want me to do another topic, please keep suggesting them. Some people have texted me personally, and I will definitely get back to them, and I'll try and do a topic on that as well. But I thought this is a really important one. This helps you to be yourself, to ground yourself, to be you. So try it this week, see if you can even go to one person and show a little bit of vulnerability, and then assess how do you feel as well. And that's really, really important to check in with yourself. Okay, take care, bye bye.